Efforts to resolve the leadership crisis in the People's Democratic Party, PDP, seem to have taken a turn for the worse as Alhaji Ahmed Yayari Mohammed yesterday accepted an early appointment as replacement to the embattled national chairman of the party, Iliya Damagum. This was in spite of the directive by governors of the party to all camps to sheath their swords following their intervention last Friday. Mohammed, one of the parties to the disagreements, pledged to abide by the PDP constitution in running the affairs of the party. However, he said, and I quote, "We must admit that we have not satisfactorily carried out the critical role expected of a viral opposition in a democracy," end of quote. Mohammed, who stated in his acceptance letter, also added that the NWC under his leadership will be guided strictly by the constitution of the party, and he will at all times be fair to all members, irrespective of their status, position, or state in the party. This day gathered that after a meeting on Friday between the chairman of PDP Governors Forum, Senator Bala Mohammed, and Damagum, it was agreed that the meeting of the governors would hold today to resolve the leadership crisis. But Mohammed yesterday, apparently preempting the meeting, announced the acceptance of his nomination. PDP House of Drama, Rufai, or PDP House of Commotion, or PDP on its way to redemption. I don't know how I would see this, but a number of things have happened, and this is the latest development in this action. Your take on this story?
Not so fast, yes, on his way to redemption. So I'm taken aback at regard to Yahari Mohammed accepting the nomination because there was already a pending court case. And you know, once the court comes into it, the matters become a whole lot different. But you're totally apt as regards the fact that, is this supposed to be the opposition? At a time when Nigeria needs a strong opposition, when the incumbent leadership is not doing well, the economy is at an all-time low, but there are a lot of infighting, so they can't provide a viable opposition, and it speaks volumes. And you cannot deny the fact that you can trace all of this back to the last election cycle. And there are two big elephants in the room, Wike and Atiku Abubakar. All of this is a fallout. You know, Wike not getting his way, Atiku Abubakar saying, okay, definitely I was going to go against the grain of the party and try one more time. And Wike said, oh, it's supposed to come to the south this time around, and the argument back and forth. But some people will have thought that that should have ended when Atiku finally emerged. Some people will say otherwise, that probably because Wike didn't get a vice presidential ticket, that if he had gotten it, this would have been different. But the fight continues. One thing is certain. With this decision, it definitely violated the court order, the Abuja court order, restraining anybody from removing Damagum. That's one. Secondly, the future of the party, because some big wigs in the party, people like Bode George are already saying that even Damagum overstayed his welcome. He got in there in March, you know, just after the elections. And when you look at it, the party constitution talked about the 90-day cycle, that he should not be in that position for more than 90 days. But also, when you look at Damagum staying on there, the party has not been able to convince to take a position as regards the future of the party. So that's why you have many regimes back and forth. And I think the very apt word for what is happening to the PDP now is the words of Hayoshe, that the party is as good as finished. How can they come out of this? Only God knows. But you know, a part of me says politicians will definitely fix their way and all of that. But it's split down two factions. The Ologun Agba faction and the Damagum faction.
All right.
But Fayoshe might just be right.
That's finished, Dr. Abati, or?
Okay, what are the intelligent points to make here? As follows. One, the PDP is factionalized. You have one faction suspending one party, the other part suspending the other party. And that confronts us with the crisis of political party, you know, democracy in Nigeria. Namely, that our political parties are just special purpose vehicles. They are not political parties in the real sense, in which you have it, for example, in the United States, and which we have seen in the United States also, in terms of political parties functioning as special representatives of the people's expectations, whatever their choices are, whatever their emotions are. That's the first lesson in this. Now, it was Debo Ologun Agba, who himself had been suspended by another faction of the People's Democratic Party, who is now making the statement that Mr. Mohammed, who is the national treasurer before now of the party, saying that he's now the acting chairman of the party. And he himself, as like a peacock would do, he has stepped into the role. And he says, yes, he will try to resolve the situation in the party. Again, another indication of crisis within the party. What is the third point? He's now saying, as the presumptive, assumed, self-presented, acting chairman of the party, that the North Central should present a candidate. Now, all this dates back to the crisis within the party when former Senator Iyorchia Ayu was removed. And the party has been saying, one group, Dino Melaye inclusive, has been saying that, look, that position belongs to the North Central. Now, the North Central, you have that issue now. He's saying that there will be a meeting on October 24, and that on October 24, the North Central should present their candidate. Well, I've seen stories saying, or I've heard stories saying David Mark, Senator David Mark, a highly respected member of the party, wants to be chairman of the party. Perhaps, if he succeeds, it will bring stability. Also, the former governor, of Benue State, is also interested in the position. But look, the sum of it all is that the PDP is in crisis. The only thing that I will not say is to say that maybe there is a conspiracy theory in the matter. However, in Nigerian politics, you cannot rule out anything. The other issue is the role of the courts. The courts, they said one federal high court has issued an interlocutory ex parte injunction and all that. The courts must be very careful. The courts should not become a shopping forum interfering in political party affairs. And that's why yesterday on This Day Live, the Sunday talk show, I brought up the issue with Mark Jacobs, former Attorney General of Kaduna State, to say that, look, why are these courts misbehaving like this? Even after, Justice Kudera Kekere said that indiscipline will not be condoned. All of these matters, the next thing you will hear is that one high court judge in one state has issued an injunction and all of that. No, we don't need that. The temple of justice must stay above the fray. Judges should not descend into the arena.
All right. PDP in crisis, obviously. I think that's obvious. One of the things I must say is that this is just a full-blown manifestation of symptoms that have been on since the last presidential election, 2023, or even just prior before 2023, when the whole issue around the zoning, who should be party chairman and then who should represent the party or be the flag bearer in terms of their presidential candidate. Ever since then, the PDP has plunged into one crisis, one issue or the other. And so far, they seem to have been able to survive, albeit with a few knocks here and there, these crises. Remember the G5 and how it seemed as if people within the party, especially very strong members within the party, were working against the success of the party, which they succeeded because the party ended up not winning and losing at the presidential elections. But beyond that then is post the elections is a battle for the survival of what ought to be, at least for now, the biggest opposition party to the government of the day. And this is what Mr. Mohammed said during his acceptance speech. The first thing I'd like to ask, I'm not sure that is clear yet, is the process to his appointment, which he accepted as at least acting national chairman. Who were the people whose I understand is Mr. Debo Ologwagwa faction that's appointed him? What happens to the other faction that appointed him? So these are some of the confusions. And if there was no due process followed in his appointment and this acceptance of the appointment, then you can just imagine how chaotic or perhaps ineffective his tenure would be, because who then would he be able to, to lead or to govern over? Beyond that is the impact of the fights that have happened. I think at this time is a good time for the leaders of PDP or people who still believe in the party above personal interest to come together and work and fight to save the PDP if they have any chance at all of remaining a viable party, a party that can put up candidates, or a party that can perhaps even stand strong as an opposition. And this is the challenge we've talked about a number of times. There are too many voices speaking for the PDP. There are too many main actors in the PDP. They need to get their acts together. And part of this is to get the founding fathers and their leaders, the strong members of the party, to come together and put an end to this debacle that's playing out in the public sphere. The PDP ought to be a strong opposition party. They've been around since the beginning of, at least almost since the beginning of the democracy, following military rule for many years. And so they should know better. And this is why I'll end by saying, when we talk about political parties in Nigeria, we need to talk about the foundation and the ideology behind the parties. I don't know if we have any party at all that is formed on strong ideology and can sustain itself beyond the personal interests of individual members. That's the challenge we have. And we're looking for parties like that, not just to form oppositions, but also to make our democracy more vibrant here as a nation.